made it. You thought this was gonna be like some fucking shitty leftist video essay type bullshit about this anime? Fuck no. Fuck no, it isn't. It fucking isn't, okay? You're the most racist, most homophobic, most transphobic video you will ever see on YouTube that's somehow fucking up, like with other videos that actually break the TOS. But I'm not gonna be that type of guy, okay? Like, these people, most of them are just mistake acts, okay? Just frank fucking mistake acts, okay? But also, hello everyone, I'm the Forest here.
Present time.
And you don't seem to understand.
Jokes aside, the intro song fucks. It's just that good. The real first scene from this anime, coming from it, is just this girl getting made fun of by a bunch of other girls in this alleyway that is just seemingly dotted with pints of blood. Like, I don't know if that is a design choice. I don't know if that's just actual blood or not, or what it's supposed to mean, but it's there and it looks fucking weird. Then the girl fucking kills herself in front of a couple trying to make out with each other. What a way to kill the mood, bro! Okay, but seriously, that scene set up the permanent tone I associated this entire anime with from that point forward. Just straight up brutality. And also set into motion all the other events in this anime after that. Then we get to see our main character in this anime, Lane. We get some shots of the overly electrified, wired neighborhood that she lives in, and she gets into this New York subway train and starts to see some homeless man spazzing out in the middle of the fucking aisles. Even though she fears for her life, she knows the consequences of trying to stop some unpredictable and crazy people in a public place. We all fucking know the consequences, okay?
Just shut up!
Is that fucking Joe Biden? Is that Joe Biden? With the Given suicide we saw a few minutes ago, we later found out who this person was, Ryomuro Chisa, from a girl crying and mourning over her friend's death. The creepy thing about it is that this girl received an email from Yomura, even though she's dead. Oh, we're starting to get somewhere. Then Lane gets back home and uses her shitty iMac computer that we all used to have in our computer labs at one point. And then she gets a schizo connection with Chisa through the Mac. Up to this point, there is a special emphasis on the electric buzzing noise in this episode, the natural ambient noises of modernity and for the youth, showing that even in the 90s there was concerns on the bridging between the gaps of humanity and its technology, or becoming its slave, or becoming one with it, which obviously is a retarded concept, not as in a thing of a concept of itself, but of it actually being a real thing and people actually being in support of it. It's retarded. Throw some fucking water to solve the problem, man.
Got an email from a friend today. It was from this girl I know who killed herself last week.
She does not give a fuck. Then later we see Lane's father with his Reddit Gold approved PC Master Race setup here, and with him installing his new shit turbo GFX 9000 into his rig. Fucking geek. Is that fucking NVIDIA? Her father then explains, just like in the real world or on the wired world, the internet, is that you can connect with other people, and that is how societies function. Even though we know with the 25-year plus hindsight that friends coming from the information superhighway is not the same, nor will it ever come close to being the same as having friends in real life, and distorting and trying to convince yourself that your friends online are an equivalent is basic delusion, and that everyone can acknowledge, even the most terminally online people can admit, albeit with some reluctance.
Biology? Cool. I took AP Biology senior year of high school. I did pretty well in it. Passed the AP exam.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Dude, you knew I was 13 and you still wanted to do this?
Well, I don't want to push anything.
You don't want to push anything?
know this will be on the test.
So where are you?
We see this fellow right here trying some fentanyl and getting the craziest schizo breakdown you will ever see. After she got the message that there is a god here, she is now getting gang stalked literally fucking everywhere that she goes.
Putting them right on YouTube, right on blast. Watch them all scurry. Get them all run. Look at that shit. Now that's gang stalking.
Beria, we were scared at first, but then we all finally got up the courage to go there last night.
Oh, come on. It wasn't such a big deal. Oh, right. You were scared.
It's a new club that plays really great hardcore techno for a really hip young crowd. And you know, there was a girl we saw there who looked a little bit like you, Lane.
Bro, these girls are like in middle school. They're like 13 or 14 to 12. I don't fucking know how old they are. Why are they in a fucking bar? What the fuck? This episode is when it introduces the omnipresent idea throughout the entire show that everyone is connected. How, you may ask? Well, through the Wired, obviously. This isn't some form of dick riding on Elon Musk because he is literally from Africa and doesn't use the nigger word on a platform that he still owns. No, the woman named Linda, Yinda, I don't know, doesn't do jack shit and probably gave head to him to get that nominal position of CEO for Twitter. But I have some weird feeling that Elon probably saw this anime when he was like in his mid-20s and was inspired from the idea of Neuralink, which I think we shouldn't bring that type of technology into reality for what happens in this fucking anime or in any movie showing the interconnectedness of humanity through technological means where it all goes tits up and it's just like that forever. It's not good. But more seriously on the idea that everybody is connected, it is true that there is a hidden connection between people on great distances that can enable communication, either through the dream world, a little different from the wired, since the connection isn't artificially made from the wires and internet frequencies, but also straight up presence connection that you have when either thinking of somebody or something so deeply with your intention focused on it. And I don't think you can directly say words to them or receive the spoken word towards it most of the time, but rather some feeling of intuition towards your gut area, or can perceive actions miles away without even seeing them take place.
There's 250 fucking shells! 250 rounds of ammunition! What the fuck?
Later in this episode, it is the start of her run-ins with the feds. She probably got into the fucking dark web shit and ordered some pure ecstasy La La Land rocks or some shit like that and got tracked back into her fucking home.
Related items such as pure MDMA crystals. Do you know how strong those are? You only need a fucking tidbit of that big ass crystal to send you to La La Land.
I get that whenever everybody is reviewing or talking about this anime are always tripping out about the fact that it predicted almost exactly on how the current landscape of the internet will look and feel like. But the part I think nobody's talking about is the fact that they predicted Taiwan, which might be the next target and final domino towards World War III, being the biggest producer of computer chips for any computer, regardless of the company origin. Only a bit tangential, but it's still mentioning the same country. Bitch got the NASA computer set up in her bedroom, and she's only using it to proudly troll niggas in the wired. There is a sequence in this episode of this guy being trapped in this Doom-like game, or just this weird reality chamber where Lane seems to take the reins. Dude was fighting for his fucking life and then snapped back to reality.
Looks like you've gotten very comfortable now, talking to people on the wired.
Yeah.
Let me give you just one little warning.
Yeah?
I think that my little girl perhaps has become obsessed with the wired. It's just an advanced medium for communication. Don't ever get it confused with the real world.
My nigga, she is far too gone already, my friend. This episode takes a different turn in concept, with a narration on how slow the progress of humanity is, being slowed down to a halt with a condition called neoteny, which is pretty evident for people in the more developed countries of the world, since most people live in cities where there is elaborate infrastructures constructed from hundreds and thousands of years of foundation building. There is a lost sense of the very wild, visceral, and natural part of our nature, which is to hunt, kill, and survive. But since we have the modern pleasures of abundant food, advanced technologies that contain the biggest encyclopedias that the greatest emperors of all time would have traded entire armies for, and relative safety in terms of disease.
What is the actual name of our country? United States of America, commonly known as the United States, or simply America.
We don't even know how to make clothes of our own, nor how to really make our food beyond cooking. Most do not know how to produce, but rather know how to consume. Now, I don't mean consume in the sense of buying things to make them, because there is an ever-increasing amount of people who are just consuming, never producing, never contributing anything to their nation or wider society, becoming somewhat burdens to their families and communities. You just don't see the contrary of that stuff anymore, man. This anime extrapolates on this gay idea that reality is just a mere simulation, bro, and that we're just a bunch of carbon atoms and chemicals bunched up together, bro. Like, it's so gay that I'm actually it's not even surprised for anybody. If anybody believes in some metaphysical reality like that, face value, like in the most literal sense, that they're the most depressed people, they're the most anxious people that you will ever meet. Not necessarily that you believe in science, because as one man once said, the first sip of the natural sciences, you become an atheist, but when you get to the bottom, you find God. I'm not even fucking kidding. That is real, and I think that's the reason why most of the greatest scientists, most of the greatest fucking mathematicians, and people just generally in the sciences and just trying to find out what is this, what is that of everything, they are studying in the frame of studying God's creations, not just creation or just like this bunch of shit that we have right here. Studying what he has created and how it works and all that stuff. The rest of this episode is just a trip I can't commentate about. In this episode, Lane's room has evolved from a barren, empty domicile to those fucking rooms you would call as the Goon Cave. Don't look that up, please. Fucking don't. How the fuck does she have liquid on the floor without causing its structural integrity to collapse by now? I don't know, because she's on the second floor. That has to have had collapsed by now, okay?
This one's so much better, don't you? No way! This one's better, right, Lane?
Hey, let's go to that store we went to yesterday. They're having a 30-minute all-you-can-eat ice cream special today. But I'm really hungry.
Lane's sister becomes functionally brain dead from watching too many of those Subway Surfers TikToks, and is now just slowly turning into a vegetable. Lane begins to go through the most elaborate rabbit hole about the NWO and finds Alex Jones and pays him a little visit to him at the hospital, living in his twilight years. Okay, to be more seriously about this anime, there is a present separation between the personality of Lane in real life and in The Wired. She is more aggressive and assertive in her inquiry towards finding out knowledge in general, hence the emphasis of her searching people of interest on her own, rather than people searching her without her input. The personality of Lane in the real world is more timid, weird, somewhat nerdy, and a bit stoic in her emotive operations that seem too unnatural for a young teenage girl at the age of 14. Most people expect to be more neurotic, more emotional in general, given the more lunatic nature of their psychosexual functions, being more of the passive submissive principle, being more aligned with the moon. The moon changes the tides of the ocean as much as it can with the water within every other person, and at certain times women's cycles usually is 28 days, mirroring not only the moon cycle but the menstrual period too. Men have a 24-hour cycle, mirroring the active dominant principle, also mirroring the sun, which is also called soul. Soul, only you is removed because it comes from the sun, is in you. it's in you. It is very chilling to know that the kiss system explained in this episode is very reminiscent of the usual Luciferian rituals, harnessing not only the youth energy of them, but also the psi, the PSI or whatever, or in other words, the intel that made every genius during antiquity a sodomite, because that is how they got their greatest world-moving ideas. It's not crazy what I said, it's just fucking true. It's just true, man. The feds planted some Somalian CP and posted in the general Discord chat and added everyone, which she forgot she had notifications on and just made her fucking system blow up. 4 minutes into the episode called Society, we get the sequence of this fucking loser walking around in public with a fucking Oculus Rift, going around on some schizobabble nonsense. For some reason later in this episode, a middle-aged man wanted some help putting together a computer from Lane. After being pressed by Man very personally, her personality goes on a fucking switch to a wired one. There is something to say and consider that since there is the omnipresent status of the internet, and it is regular now for people to have two personalities, a split personality if you will, it is indeed a very dangerous thing to try to skirt or even destroy the border between these two personalities. Even here, not talking about the show, because it can either end in your personal destruction of everything that has to do with your real name and identity, or it can illuminate you to high places that are unseen to everyone. Everybody likes an authentic person, but I don't think people should strive authenticity to be a value of main pursuit. Sometimes people and societies function harmoniously when there is an agreed upon mask that we have to wear. Maybe sometimes that thing under the mask is only of chaos, death, destruction, and sadness, and that will only bring nothing good to you or others around you. Episode 8 is the episode where everything in front of Lane's eyes are starting to crumble, and everything is unraveling for the viewer as much as myself. Shit starts to get more and more weird for the plot and actually comprehension of the question, what the fuck is Serial Experiment Lane? What is it? This episode just goes through the musings of a weed head's highest intellectual thoughts. Am I really me? Am I just a collection of memories within the confines of other people's perceptions and perspectives? Or am I just a real being of independent existence that is verifiable in the soul, material, psyche, and validation from others? I don't know, man. Am I really me? Fucking hate those people so goddamn much. They ruined this world. Episode 9 is one of the most dense in terms of information in a fucking show, and real one too, regarding the Roswell incident, showing presumably the same aliens from that UFO crash visiting Lane. Talking about the Schumann's resonance of the Earth and its frequency being 8 Hz in all, there's this also transhumanistic fixation on connecting everybody, which can be said of the same of just the entire show. And if you want to know why people say this show was ahead of its time, this is the episode that explains it in essence. Not in the actual direct, blatant explanation, but you can just feel it being in the year 2098 rather than in 1998. There is obviously the very heavy themes with the illustrations of the internet as it was interpreted in the late 90s, which even by that time in America, there were more than 55 million people using it, and it was one of the biggest years for it too. There is the other subject in this episode too, God. Since we have deluded ourselves to worshipping the material and the king of the material, the devil, now seriously, think about it for a second. If we cannot even conceptualize God, not as a concept in itself, but as the deity and master creator, there is a merit to attributing him to the positive side of the world. All of the positive emotions, forces of good, and things that are just, joyful, sacred, orderly, and prosperous, he is to be considered the king of the immaterial, since we cannot see him, nor will we ever, besides the iconoclastic means. Why would the devil be the king of the material? Well, just look around you. There is greed within you for money, under the guise of survival. But it is really going for the core material wealth. That is a great illusion. Lust is his way of harvesting your energy that is in its most potent form in the sexual nature. There is such a thing as sexual transmutation. There are the other rest I won't go through, but you get the point. But you need to remember, pride is the worst. I won't explain, you find out. Now, what does this tangent have to do with this anime? It is not only introducing the ambiguation of what is you and the dissolution of identity, which is the first step to conquering the masses who are bonded with homogeneity, but also making it seem like throughout the show that God seems to not exist, not only in the universe of the Serial Experiments Lain thing, but in our own too. This episode goes to the classic question we have put a carrot on a stick to ourselves to ponder foolishly. If God made us, who made God? Also, in this episode, there is the classic delusion of false idols towards the end, where the real God shows himself to Lain. A life without Lain seems to be rolling just fine without her. After getting told that she was useless to the real world by Erisu, or Alice, she goes back to her home to play some 2K. I don't know what happens in this episode besides a fucking acid trip for almost all the rest of the episode. Later in this episode though, the identities and individuals involved with the Knights, even though they were all anonymous, were all killed either directly or by proxy of suicide.
Let me tell you the story. When the level 600 school Giga walked past, I was in class. This crazy
About me like I'm a machine. I'm not that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. This is basically a software problem that we are facing. Lain, what I've been telling you all this time is that you are software. You're not hardware.
I'm software?
Yes, an executable program with a body.
Fucking nerd. I'm not going to talk about this episode. I won't explain why, just watch it for yourself. In this episode, we are revealed the mastermind of this whole operation of the entire series to connect the wild to the real world, Masumi Iri. Alice, being the only one spared of the madness Lain is creating, goes to her house to see her. The reason why she was spared specifically, I don't know. There might be dikes or something. I don't fucking know.
Sticking out your gyat for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. You're so Phantom Tax.
What is this?
Nothing. I've just been watching stuff, that's all.
Watching what?
Pussy! After Lain goes schizo on Alice and explaining why she was only left alone regarding Lain's godlike abilities to rewrite memories of everyone, there is a confrontation with God and Lain where she just epically owns him with facts and logic, saying this gay sciencey stuff like emotions and using this Epicurean position to just block the unpleasant and negative ones. Yeah, that's not how it works. You're gay for even thinking like that. Like, look at this nigga trying to materialize himself. He's just a bunch of guts, muscles, and computers. Fucking ugly. I won't talk about the last episode. You just need to fucking see it for yourself. I can't. For me at least, I can't do it justice by just explaining it away. You need to see it for yourself.
There's just one thing I'll say is like that white stain on the floor, like that splotch you'll see on my carpet. That was an Ember thing. I wanted to make my skin as white as possible.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
For my conclusion on this anime, I like to think that whoever made it was a legit time traveler of some sorts, or at least tapped into the to-be side of the infinite knowledge that is around us. The was, is, and to be of the world and its points in history. I think the creator of this anime had a massive breakdown in the middle of creating this world in his mind. since he probably got this type of information too much and too quickly. For making the protagonist a teenage girl, it's a salient design of its time. And I like to think a lot of people who are in technology and computer science were inspired by this anime to pursue that avenue. It initially confused me when it started to become distorted in its coherency, its plotline, and logic, but after rewatching it for this video, I would like to rate this anime with an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it thoroughly, great visual design, decent sound design, and including the good music, and incorporates very well at times, and it only falls 2 points from grace from the confusing nature of the show. I get that is the point, but it made it a bit weird to follow through with this anime. Thank you for watching this video and its review. God be with ye.